All right, good afternoon. We're going to call to order the meeting of the SNRHA Regional Housing Authority, and we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll now move on to roll call.
Chairperson William McCurdy.
Present.
Vice Chairperson Tig Siggerbloom.
Present.
Commissioner Scott Black.
Here.
Commissioner Nancy Bruni.
Here.
Commissioner Carrie Cox.
Here.
Commissioner Valerie Craig.
Present.
Commissioner Michael Disman.
Here.
Commissioner Luciana Turner.
Present.
Thank you. A quorum is present, and we are in compliance with the Nevada open meeting law.
Thank you so much. This is the first time set aside for public comment. This is a time period for you to speak on items that are listed on the agenda. We ask that if you are speaking on the agenda item, you come, state your first, last name for the record. If you're staying in one of our properties, please state the property that you're staying in, and we ask that you also keep your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anyone online or in person who would like to come forward at this period for our public comment period? All right, hearing and seeing no one else, we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the minutes from our January 19, 2023 meeting.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Siggerbloom, a second from Councilman Black. Is there any comment at this period? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Anyone abstain? Minutes are approved. We'll now move on to item number 4, approval of the agenda with the inclusion of any emergency items or deletions. Executive Director Jordan.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to remove number 9.
All right, we will be striking item number 9. Are there any other corrections from the board? Seeing and hearing none.
Move for approval as amended.
All right, we have a motion for approval by Commissioner Black. We have a second by Commissioner Disman. Is there any comment at this period? Commissioner Cox?
Oh, turn off Siggerbloom's mic.
Maybe it's not appropriate. I was just curious why we're removing 9.
Oh, absolutely. There was a intended bargaining meeting to happen before today's meeting, and it didn't occur.
Thank you.
Any other questions from members of the board, either in person or on phone? Seeing, hearing no one else, we have a motion properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The agenda is approved. We'll now move on to section number 2, 5.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under the Executive Director's report, we have a number of very good and informational presentations today. Wanted to start with a technology update. Last month or 2 months ago, when we brought Craig Patterson in, staff promised a periodic update on technology. And so Craig is here to do a brief presentation on where we are in that realm right now.
Hello, Commissioner. Hello, Commissioners, and thank you for allowing us to present. You may have received a handout that has an overview of technology enhancements and technology procurements that are either procured or anticipated to be procured over the next 12 months or so. We have the ones in green that are procured, the ones in yellow are under consideration as we're moving through the year. Ring Central is the telephone system for the Housing Authority. AVIC, real briefly, lets us know where all the endpoints are on our network. It's helped us to map and identify obsolete devices and which devices will be compatible with our new systems. DocuWare will provide cloud-based document management and workflow solutions between a number of departments. And we've already started to deploy DocuWare for Housing Choice Voucher with configurations Next are going to be affordable public housing over the next 45 to 60 days. And we also have developed in Smart Sheet 2 solutions. One's going to be helping with the wait list, another will also be helping with the lobby, and one is also helping to track and monitor correspondence and follow-up between issues raised either by the board or by HUD. And then we're really excited about the Nintex Workflow Cloud. That's going to give us business analysis at a desktop level. It has a robot that goes through and looks at the keystrokes that an employee performs to see which ones can be alleviated by some of the automation. It's very helpful and going to provide for efficiencies. I just wanted to give a brief overview and open up to questions too. As we can see, I think we all know what Wi-Fi enablement in the Cox Internet service. We're hoping to increase to our fiber bandwidth because that's really the irrigation system, the central nervous system that the Housing Authority needs to deliver its services.
Okay.
Commissioner Craig.
I understand I checked it, Wi-Fi enablement, and you said that, I guess maybe I'm thinking some time ago whenever I got Wi-Fi, the company could just come in and see whether or not I'm able to get it. So that's not what Wi-Fi enablement is?
It is, that's an element of it. At the level of the Housing Authority, the enterprise level, there is additional equipment that we need to make sure connects to Cox. We're changing from, I forget the name of it, Lumen to Cox. So Cox is coming in and bringing high-speed fiber to buildings that we don't have service at now. That's going to require equipment upgrades for the Wi-Fi enablement.
Thank you.
Commissioner, any other questions from members of the board? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. About a year ago, we had our partners from NDOT come in to talk about the downtown access project, and we thought it would be prudent to have them come back a year later to give the commission and the agency an update on what's going on with that project. So we're going to have the staff come up and speak to that.
Thank you, Director Jordan. My name is Ryan Wheeler with the Nevada Department of Transportation here in Las Vegas at 123 East Washington Avenue, zip code 89101. It's good to be with you, Chairperson McCurdy and members of the board and staff and public, so thanks for letting me come and participate in your board meeting today. As Director Jordan mentioned, just here to give you an update of where we're at and where we're going, and we have new members of the board as well here, so just welcome to the board. And also we've individually met with members of the board, so if you need a separate update or want to sit down with us separately, please reach out to myself or our community liaison, Debbie Bonet, there in the back, and we'd be willing to sit down with you individually if you have specific comments. This update that I'm going to provide to you, I've been given 10 to 15 minutes. You may have questions. Some of this might be new to some of the commissioners. Others, you've seen it before, and we're just giving you a project update. So our agenda that we're going to provide to you today is give you a project overview for the new board members, and then also we're going to talk about where we've been with community engagement, potential impacts to this complex, the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority complex, and next steps of where we're at with the project. So what is the Downtown Access Project? I'll show this, I'm going to jump ahead. This is the Downtown Access Project. NDOT's proposing to construct or reconstruct the freeway that is right outside the front door right here. So we're going to reconstruct US 95 from I-15 to Eastern Avenue. So we just finished a job where we added a lane, we had the cones on the road and lanes to 2 lanes in each direction. Well, this is a full reconstruction of the freeway. This bridge is, well, we'll get to that. Let me go backwards one slide. Where we at in the big project timeline, we're not looking to start construction until 2029. Okay, so 6-7 years from now. We hope to be finishing the environmental phase by Q3 of next year, and then we'll then be in a final design phase and right-of-way acquisition phase for about 4 years from 2025 to 2029. and then hopefully start construction around that time frame. And that's it's a big job, right? Just as we did Project Neon from 2015 to 2019, this is another major project for NDOT. Why are we doing this? These bridges are old. The first bridge was built in 1968. The next bridge was built in 1980, so they're approaching 50, 60 years old. And even though most of the kids like the drive of all the bumps going down the freeway, we can't have that forever, and we need to replace those bridges or do something different in reconstructing the freeway. The bridges together is 1.6 miles long too. It starts from about the Union Pacific Railroad crossing almost to Eastern Avenue, so it's a 1.6 mile long bridge. Well, the other reason that we need to do it is in 1968 and 1980, when we put these bridges up and 3 lanes in each direction, traffic was good. Traffic flow was great until Las Vegas does what it does and grows and gets bigger and bigger, and we have more traffic up there today, and it's a little more unsafe. So with our traffic projection out to 2040, we anticipate 220,000 vehicles using it every day, where today it's about 175,000 vehicles use it every day. The other reason, I think I'm bouncing around here a little bit. Let me see if I can go back. Try one more time. There we go. Thank you if you helped me out there. I appreciate that. Well, here's kind of the other reason it has to deal with safety. Is originally in 1968, 1980, the ramps between I-15 and Las Vegas Boulevard worked pretty good. But today they're spaced so close together that it causes a lot of backup in each direction. So in the northbound direction, you have Las Vegas Boulevard coming on, Casino Center coming on, all the traffic trying to get off to I-15 South exit. All the weaving that happens right there will back traffic up as far south as Charleston or even farther. In the northbound direction, you have I-15 ramps coming on, and everybody's trying to get off on Casino or Las Vegas Boulevard, and that weaving will back up traffic as far west as Decatur. Well, as we reconstruct the freeway, we're going to fix that. Another purpose and need for the project is to repair, restore, and renew the freeway corridor. We're not just going to reconstruct a freeway, but try and help the corridor along the way by making it healthier, safer, more sustainable transportation system. The project elements is to fix the ramp spacing that I just shared with you, increase capacity. So we're going to add 2 more lanes in each direction than what's out there today. We're going to bring the HOV system that's on the west side of the freeway, west side of I-15, to the east side of I-15, so it will now have an HOV lane on this side of the freeway. We're looking to add 2 new HOV interchange, one at City Parkway and one at Maryland Parkway. And then we're going to do bike and pedestrian improvements and landscape and aesthetics. All the information that I'm sharing with you today is also on a project website that we have for you as well. So here's how we're going to fix the ramp spacing. Here's an example that shows that we only have a 1/4 mile to make that decision point to exit to Casino Center. Instead, what we're going to do is have the traffic come on as what we call a collector distributor road. So an adjacent road will be adjacent to the freeway. We'll provide all the same access points to Casino Center and Las Vegas Boulevard. And then that merge point, instead of being right at City Parkway, we're going to move it to the east of Las Vegas Boulevard. So traffic flow will happen very smoothly throughout there after this is done. In the northbound direction, we have the same thing, closely spaced ramps. So we're going to do a CD road also in the northbound direction. And that's illustrated there. On our website, we have videos that illustrate what that will look and feel like. So you'll understand how that will operate a little bit better. It's kind of like when we did Project Neon and the 95 South to I-15 South. You have a separate road that's adjacent to the freeway, and then that merges in right there by SNRHA. It's going to be similar to that. So today it's 3 lanes in each direction. We're going to propose 6 lanes. I'm sorry, it's 4 lanes in each direction today, and we'll propose 6 lanes in each direction. So the freeway will grow by an additional 4 additional lanes. Chairman McKirby.
Will it still bottleneck, like after we get past the exchange right there between the 95 and the 15, right after we get to the west side of the 15 on 95, won't it still bottleneck there, or what are the considerations there?
The west side of I-15? You mean going underneath I-15?
Going underneath, once you get through the interchange, then you get to Rancho, then Valley View indicator.
Yeah.
Still without bottleneck there.
It'll pretty much stay the same through there. The only change is that you'll have an HOV lane. So today that's 3 lanes that go underneath I-15 from like the west side to the east side. You'll now have an HOV lane to fit through there as well. Because as you travel from the west, let me make sure my directions are right, from the east side to the west side, right? So if I'm traveling northbound on 95, the traffic that gets on I-15 gets on I-15, and then you have your through traffic, and then the traffic coming from I-15 doesn't get on 95 until past Rancho, right? Because you have those, what we call collector distributor roads that stay adjacent to 95, but then they don't merge on and off 95 till just west of Rancho. Yeah, so that will stay the same, except you'll have one more lane being an HOV lane. Yeah. Thanks for the question, Mr. Chairperson. HOVs, here's the locations for the proposed HOV interchanges, one at City Parkway, one at Maryland Parkway. Right now we have 3 design alternatives, okay, and I'm going to explain each of those real quick, and then we will we'll go to kind of next steps. So during our NEPA process, we come up with alternatives, and that's where we're at. Here's some alternatives. Through the NEPA process, we'll decide on which alternative we're going to take to final design. And so during this planning stage, we work with the community, we work with organizations such like you, with the city, to say, hey, what's the best alternative for the community? So a year and a half ago, we had 3 alternatives. We're working on 2 new alternatives, which I'll get to here shortly, but we haven't fully developed those yet. So these 3 alternatives I'm going to review with you are alternatives that are already on our website that you can see. So one of them is to recess the freeway, to demolish the bridges and actually put the freeway down in the ground in a trench 30 feet deep. That, and I'll show you what that looks like here shortly. Alternative 2 and 3 are kind of similar. It would be leaving the freeway at the elevation that it is today, but instead of being on a 1.6 mile bridge, we put most of it on dirt, except for locations where we need to cross a road, like Las Vegas Boulevard, 8th Street, 9th Street, whatever, we would have a bridge over that road. Alternative 2 and 3, there's a south and a north alignment, and we'll show you what that looks like. There's also an alternative of a no-build. The Federal Highway Administration requires that when we look at rebuilding freeways that we consider, hey, what if you did nothing? So here's what the recessed freeway would kind of look like. The orange area there, it has the widest footprint, so it has the most impact to properties that would need to be acquired to construct the recessed alternative. That typical section below that image shows that an example of the freeway being down in a trench. Those earthen plugs, which show those ramps, means that, hey, traffic needs to get out of the trench up to the bridge or local road, like Las Vegas Boulevard, so we're going to have a ramp that takes them up out of the trench to do that. Alternatives 2 and 3 in the top exhibit there shows the difference between the 2. One is we call north, and that's the footprint shown in blue, so it swings between Las Vegas Boulevard and City Parkway. It swings more to the north, so it misses impacting some of the properties on the south side of 95. The yellow one we call the south alternative, and it strives to miss the recreational properties that City of Las Vegas has with the doula center and the gym and the pool, but then we end up impacting some of the casino properties on the south side of the freeway. Like we said, a big project, right? So this one we would put it mostly on dirt instead of bridge, and we would just have bridges where we cross the streets. So where are we at today? We're working on 2 new alternatives. As we did those 3 alternatives and we had a public meeting, Mr. Jordan, we got feedback from FHWA as well as EPA, and they said, hey, these alternatives are great, but we want you to go back out to the community and talk to them about how the freeway can be neighborly to the community, see if you can reduce your impacts, see if you can work on your designs a little bit more, and let's come up with 2 or 3 new alternatives. And that's where we're at right now. And let me give you just a little bit of background about that. So over the last 6 to 10 months, we've done an extensive community engagement outreach. We've had over 100 plus stakeholder meetings to date. We've had our website up, our hotline, our email. We're on social media. Here's kind of a history of what we've done to date. We'll get a little more granular on this. I'm not going to read through every one of these, but we've been talking to the community extensively. The last 6 to 8 months, we've had what we call community conversations, and they're basically kitchen table conversations where we just get in a room without an agenda and say, what do you think about the freeway? How has it impacted your life today? We're going to reconstruct it. Do you think having it on a bridge is good? Do you think putting it in a trench is good? Do you think putting it on dirt is good? What would you like the freeway to look like? And we've really just had these kitchen table conversations with members of the community, and it's been wonderful. Our target audience has been pretty much everybody that lives east of Las Vegas Boulevard, west of Eastern, north of Stewart, and south of Bonanza. And the community's been great. We've had over 15 conversations to date. We've talked about the freeway and what they'd like it to mean to them. They've talked about their living conditions and how they can be improved, and we've shared some of that information with the city of Las Vegas as well. Why have we done that? Because I wanted, as a project manager, I wanted to get all of that information from the community and tell my designers to be like, just put on the brakes. Let's get all of this information from the community, I'll give it to my designers, and then you guys get to work and design something that works. So we're right at that point. We just had that meeting where we shared all this information with our designers, and then as they work on the designs, we told the members of the community that are participating with this, we said we'd have follow-up meetings with you. So that once my designers come up with an idea, we'll reach out to them and say, what do you think? How did we do? Do we need to adjust? Did we hear you? Where did we not hear you? Right? So we're trying to be one with the community. We established a project office at the East Las Vegas Community Center. We have that staffed part-time, so that's been good. Most of our meetings, those kitchen table conversations, has been at that location, and we appreciate the city of Las Vegas in working with us on that. That's kind of the update. All right, now the next couple of slides I'm going to show you are slides that I've shown Mr. Jordan before, as far as right now, based on those 3 alternatives, without the next 2 alternatives being fully worked out, what would be the impacts to Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority? And they really haven't changed, Mr. Jordan, so they should look similar to what we showed you previously. So the office building north of the freeway at 380 North Maryland Parkway is impacted in all 3 alternatives. The office building south of the freeway, this office building and the one right adjacent to it, is not directly impacted by all 3 alternatives. So this building should remain the same. You will have loss of parking spaces underneath I-15. The fourplexes, I'm sorry, I-515 or US 95. The fourplexes north of the freeway and the north and south alternatives were projected to impact 25 buildings or 20 apartment units. Because the recessed alternative has that widest footprint, it has a larger footprint to those, or a larger impact to those buildings. Instead of 5 buildings, it would be 14 or 56 apartment units. The last one says the vacant lot at Cedar and 28. It says it's impacted in the recessed alternative, but we have worked on an alternative where potentially it may not be impacted. So that's kind of like a potential. It says it will, but there's a potential. We're trying to get away from that, just so you know. I know I'm not here sharing the best news, right? This is a graphic showing how that is maybe impacted. So this shows the proposed freeway with the recessed. So that aerial there shows where the freeway would be and why we came up with the number of apartment units or buildings showing the impact. And this is the widest footprint the recessed is. Now as I go to the next slide, you can kind of do camera 1, camera 2, and looking at the 2 exhibits, but in the north and south, they're pretty much the same impacts to the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority complex, and they're lesser. The south and north are lesser than the recessed. If we go back, you can see that that's wider. As we go to north and south, they're pretty much the same with those 2. What are our next steps? Where are we at? We're trying to get out of the environmental process. So we are at the point where, let's just skip to the next slide here. This shares it better. We hope to be done with the environmental process by Q3 of next year, as I stated earlier. 2023 is an important year. We're going to develop those 2 new alternatives. We're going to have a public information meeting in Q3 where we'll present those alternatives to the public as we work with the stakeholders along the way. After that meeting is when NDOT will select which alternative is going to be designed and ultimately built. And at that point, you would know what the true impacts are going to be because a design has been selected. We've tried to be open and transparent with all involved, stakeholders, entities, businesses, Mr. Jordan, everyone. And so if you have questions, we'll give you the best information that we can. You can reach out to us by our website, email, phone. Hopefully I haven't taken too long today, but if you have any questions for me at this time, we'd love to answer them.
Commissioner Cox, the Sagerloom in black.
Thanks for coming today, Ryan. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I think anytime we do something to this magnitude, and it's not that I've been around a long time to see it, except originally, I mean, I'm not young, but being on a commission that has any input, is you're talking about safety currently is not safe, right? I'm hearing that our freeway system, at least that bridge, has significant cracks in the deck, and that the more traffic flow that we increase as we grow, it's going to become more dangerous. So are you concerned at all about waiting until 2029? I know it's a process and you don't even have a choice on that, but are you concerned that this is something that's going to cause issues before we get there?
No.
Okay.
So the bridge itself will be fine until we reconstruct it. Part of the construction project that just happened was to kind of put a Band-Aid on those cracks and those issues. They did a seismic retrofit for the bridge. They resurfaced a lot of the decking, but that maintenance cost only lasts for so long. But it should do well enough for everybody to feel 100% safe until we reconstruct this freeway. Yeah. As far as traveling on top of it, yeah, you should. There's no worry to not be on top of the bridges. You'll be just fine. But the traffic up there, right, with all the weaving, that's been an issue for a while.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I've talked to a lawyer that works downtown, and he says, I don't get on at Casino Center because he feels unsafe, right? So
Got it.
that's an individual decision.
And then you mentioned 2 more things. I'm sorry. You mentioned impacts on casinos.
Mm-hmm.
So meaning that they would have to close down, so what is our impact on business? How many casinos?
Yeah, so the South alternative shows the impact to the Boyd Gaming Main Street Station being their parking structure right there. And then there's also minor impacts to the properties on the south side of the freeway for parking. And our South alternative also shows us barely clipping the Zappos parking garage.
Okay. Last question, sorry. On the recessed alternative, I see we're going to lose 14 buildings and 56 apartment units. Okay. For me, any loss of living space, housing, it's huge,
Yeah.
especially with our growth and our needs. And so, although I don't understand the entire project, I would say any loss to housing would be a problem, and then any loss to business.
Correct.
I think those 2 things matter most to me.
Yeah, and let me just describe the maybe right-of-way acquisition process real quick. Because whether it's an impact to Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority or an individual house, NDOT follows guidelines by Federal Highway Administrations to make sure that it's a fair and equitable transition process. I'm understanding that it's still an impact, right? If a house has to move or people have to move because of this, we try to make it as fair as possible. So we work with property owners about what the value of their house is to determine a fair value, and we help negotiate that and pay them what that would be. And then also we help them with relocation assistance. So if they're going to move to Summerlin or a different part of town, we would help them with the relocation to get to that spot. And also even with businesses, if there's downtime for them to operate as a business, then we have to help pay for that offset. And so in general, the process of moving locations, even though it's disturbing, we try to be as fair as possible, and typically we strive to compensate them for any losses occurred, even if it's not just fiscal, but also almost a social impact, so
It's just hard with land becoming
scarce.
extinct almost,
Yeah.
To figure out where you're going to
Yeah.
put 56 apartment units in the loss. I mean, that's to me, that's something that we struggle with is housing right now.
Right.
And especially for workforce housing. And so that would be my concern. And however you achieve that, I mean, clearly we need it.
Yeah.
But that's just my concerns, is that the impact on business and on housing and on our residents.
Yeah, and we understand, completely we understand. And when it gets to that point in time to have those discussions, when we get to that next phase, which would be right-of-way acquisitions and the design of what the actual alternative is going to be, we would sit down with Mr. Jordan and members of the board and talk about what the plan is, right? What's the plan going to be? What's the impact, specific impacts going to be from a monetary position? How does NDOT help recoup you so that you're made whole or better through any impact process? Yeah. So those discussions will happen in about 2 years, hopefully. Those specific discussions, right? Okay, sorry.
Commissioner Black.
Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. I was here for your first presentation a few years ago, and when you look at this timeline, it's quite lengthy. To the untrained individual like myself, I mean, why does it take so long? But once you dig into it, you realize the magnitude of the project and how many moving parts. So I understand the timeline. You answered a portion of my question, but it's relative to property acquisition, right-of-way acquisition, and the timing of that. So based on the timeline, it looks like late 2024, you would conclude the environmental, and at that point you would potentially shift gears with the selection of an option that you would be proceeding forward with the design. And at that point, is that the appropriate time where conversations would begin relative to negotiating fair market value, those types of things?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me dive into that timeline just a little bit further for you, because that right-of-way acquisition process is like 4 or 5 years. So let me give you a first 2-year glimpse of that. Once we have that design, we have to draw our final lines of what the edge of the right-of-way will be, the new proposed edge of right-of-way. Once we have that, we can know the exact impact at each property, right? And we can begin having those discussions high level of what Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority's plan would like to be based on perceived impacts. Once we draw those lines, then we give it to our appraisers, and they're able to start their appraisal process to say, hey, here's the value, fair market value that we believe, and then we'll come to you guys and say, here's the number that we came up with. Do you agree with it, or do you think it should be something different? And that's when those negotiations kind of happen. Those fair market value, when we finally have those dollar amounts from our appraisers, may be a year to a year plus into that time frame. So it might be, I think we're showing end of 2024 of that transition. So it might be end of 2025 before we really have those numbers and are able to talk exact numbers. But before that, before we have those exact numbers, Mr. Jordan, we'll come and talk to you and say, what are you guys thinking? If we're impacting these buildings, what are you thinking? And how can we help you? Just high-level thoughts of what a plan might be. So we'll start those discussions early around that time frame.
I appreciate that. The only other thing I would add, and we don't necessarily need to have a back and forth discussion about this right now because it's premature, but in the context of what you just said, I think it would make sense once that you switch into that next phase of the project and you start those valuation dialogues and so forth, that we also look at the timing of it as well, because as a large organization, with or without the enhancements to the freeway, we may come to a point in our progression that we say, hey, this facility doesn't work for us anymore, we want to build somewhere else, and we don't necessarily want to find ourselves captive to a time frame, especially an extended time frame of 4 to 6 years before we can do something. So I think the timing aspect, I think, would be very important to weave into the conversation when it's appropriate.
Perfect. I
Thank you.
I appreciate that, and that's why we came and talked to you before, to try and keep.
And you'll keep coming and talking
We'll
to
keep
us, which
coming.
is awesome. So
As
thank
often
you.
as Mr. Jordan would like us to, we'll keep coming.
We just don't want to be in a position where we're held captive, if you will, in the event that we need to make a business decision independent of the project that's taking place.
And we never want you to feel that way.
Okay, thank you.
With that, I will also say that the next phase of the project currently is not funded, right? So you never know when politics get involved, or somebody says, this project needs to stop, or whatever, the decision's above my level.
That's the
but-
do nothing option, right?
Could be, you never know. But as soon as that next phase is funded, then we definitely need to be having conversations, for sure.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Sutherland.
So any idea about the two alternatives that you have discussed, what they would be?
Yeah, we have some thoughts out there. We just had a kind of a brain trust meeting about that. And a lot of that came from the community. There's a thought that maybe we don't do the Maryland Parkway HOV interchange. Some of the community members said that that wouldn't be a benefit. That would actually reduce the right-of-way footprint as well. It could save a number of households that would be impacted. There's an idea of doing an interchange, what we call a SPUI interchange, is a single point urban interchange at Eastern that would make the difference, or make the location of how they access Eastern off the freeway change, so you'd have better flow on Eastern. And then we have some grand ideas of redoing how the freeway looks between Las Vegas Boulevard and I-15 that we're just barely starting to look at.
Any idea that we could just sell you this building and get it out here?
The next phase is not funded, so we have to wait till that next phase gets funded to really have those conversations.
Aye.
I have Commissioner Turner, and then we'll go Commissioner Craig. Unmute yourself, Commissioner Turner. Can't hear you.
Still can't hear us.
We'll just, unmute yourself. We can hear you now.
I thank you for coming in, right? I did hear the last presentation, and thank you. But I still want to keep in mind, and also directing you, direct, that there are funds available when the construction starts. I hear employment, and a lot of the residents in the area will be affected, and we know that's another problem in the employment aspect along with the witness, unfortunately. So I would like that to be considered as you guys implement the next plan, that there might be jobs for some of our most impacted residents.
Thank you, Commissioner Turner, and we heard you before last time, and we are going to pursue that idea for sure. So thank you for reiterating that.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Craig.
Hi, and here we go again. You said some significant words, so sociologically, and when you said sociologically, I thought about psychologically as well as economically. And I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I've seen this kind of process happen. And unfortunately, in my experience, individuals that are low income and even middle income, they're generally pretty much not too happy with the roadside improvements. So I'm just speaking for people like that, because you say you get market value of this and that, but there are a lot of other factors that are considered. So I'm just speaking for those who may not speak for themselves.
We agree, and we're 100% on board. Part of the reason we came back and had these community conversations is Federal Highway Administrations and EPA were concerned that NDOT wasn't taking enough time to hear the voice of those that don't typically like to provide their voice. Those that are low income, Hispanic, and others that just may not feel comfortable talking to a government. And that's why we've had these kitchen table conversations, because even coming to a meeting like this can be a little threatening for some people. That's why we tried to have those kitchen table conversations to allow that voice to be a comfortable place where it can be heard. We've also gone out and even done a survey with the unhoused and talked to them directly on the streets about how often have you stayed here? If you weren't able to stay here, where would you go? And we got feedback from them as well. It's been wonderful to talk to them also. So we're trying to, this is weird for government to say, right? But we're really trying to be a part of the community. And we're not just saying that to say that. We truly are listening and try to do what's best for the majority we're not going to please everybody, as you each know, that's impossible to do. But we are trying to make it a better neighborhood and better freeway where we can.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Seeing here, no one else, we'll move on to next presenter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The Housing Authority is operating under something I like to call 3 strategic goals. Customer service inside and out, creating more housing opportunities, and also creating more opportunities for residents. So everything we do should fall under one of those titles. Today I'd like to we'd like to present to the board the awarding of project-based vouchers, which is a tool that HUD allows us to use that clearly fits under that second goal of creating more opportunity for housing. If you all recall, last year we put out a request for proposal offering up to 200 project vouchers to be awarded to community partners. And what that does, it allows us to take a project-based voucher, attach it to the unit, and then gives one of our potential participants just another choice of housing that could be available for he or she. So I'm going to ask Frank Stafford to come up and introduce the awardees and talk, either have them or him talk a little bit about the project that these 200 project-based vouchers are going towards. Right?
Good afternoon, I'm Frank Stafford, Director of Development Art and Modernization, and I'll actually kind of highlight the various projects that we have, and we'll do the award, and then I'll open it up for the recipients to come up and speak at the after I'm done. So as Mr. Jordan indicated, we put out an RFP last year. It was like first quarter. It closed around October 22. And we actually received 11 proposals from 6 different developers. The proposals range from projects building new affordable housing, there was permanent supportive housing, housing that would support senior members as well as family, and then combinations of those two. On all of the proposals we received, the average median income ranged between 30% to 60% AMI. So basically, you know, there's some that show 40, 45, 50, but we didn't have any that were higher than the 60% AMI for these proposals. Once we received those proposals, the Housing Authority assembled staff. I was on that staff. We had Patricia Stevens, who's our Director of Affordable Housing, and we had Alicia Jones, who's our Director of Housing Choice Vouchers. So we went through and we basically rated all of the proposals that were received, and then we came up with a strategy to basically divvy up the 200 vouchers, because the proposals that we received, there was actually a request for about 580 some. So this particular round, we're going to provide 200. So I'll just go through the companies and developers who we selected. In no particular order. So I'm going to start with Coordinated Living of Southern Nevada. They were selected to receive 50 project-based vouchers, and this is for their South Nellis supportive housing development. This development will be a newly constructed development. It's going to be located on the corner of Nellis Boulevard and Charleston Boulevard, which will be in the I think that's right there, the border of the Las Vegas and unincorporated Clark County. It's Clark County footprint.
Which side of Charleston?
It's on the southwest side. So Charleston is south of Charleston and west of Nellis. This particular development will help residents who have experienced homelessness, maybe need additional care. Coordinated Living has partnered with UNLV Health Mojave Counseling, who will be providing services to the residents throughout this process. So they had a pretty good team developed, and they'll be working with Ovation Development to complete the construction. Next we have Nevada Hand. Nevada Hand submitted several proposals, so we're going to be awarding 54 vouchers to 3 of the proposals that they submitted. The first one is 24 vouchers to their Buffalo Cactus development. This is a newly constructed senior development, which is located for Buffalo Drive and West Cactus, zip code 89179. We will be awarding 14 project-based vouchers to their Boulder Gibson Apartments, which is located in Henderson, Nevada, near the corner of Boulder Highway and Gibson Road. And we will be awarding 16 project-based vouchers to their Southern Pines development. This is also, as Boulder Gibson, they're all newly constructed developments. And Southern Pines is at Decatur Boulevard and Powell Road, zip code for that one is 89141. Our third developer that we selected was Foresight Housing Partners. They have been selected to receive 29 project-based vouchers for their Pura Vida senior living development. This development will be constructed at 2986 Corin Lane in North Las Vegas. It would be a combination where there will be seniors in the development as well as permanent supporting housing as well. So the vouchers that we are providing are going to be targeted for those that are the permanent supportive housing, and they have partnered with Hope Link, who will provide wraparound services for the participants that they will be serving. Let's see. Next, we have the Blind Center of Nevada. They have been awarded 51 project-based vouchers for their Vision Park development complex. That complex is going to be located at 1401 East Washington, which is very close to this area here in Las Vegas. The Blind Center has been helping the local community for over 70 years, serving disabled participants and creating a safe environment for them to live in. They have formed a joint partnership with Stout Management Company for this particular development. And the last developer we selected was Impact Residential. They will be receiving 16 project-based vouchers for their Cliff Shadows development. This development will consist of studios, 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units, and it's located on 3425 Cliff Shadows Parkway, which is near Buckskin Avenue in Las Vegas. So that is the total of the 200 vouchers that we screened and selected. We think they're all worthy candidates, and we were very proud to be involved in this process. So I know we have representatives from the Blind Center, Nevada Hand, Coordinated Living, and Foresight, and we have representatives for Fitzpatrick from Impact that's on video. And I will open it up for anyone that may want to come up and share a few words. Congratulations.
Good morning, Commission. Thank you very much for hearing us today. As you know, housing is a very big deal in Las Vegas right now, and we all have felt the impact of rising costs and just not being able to find places that's affordable for persons with disabilities. These vouchers are going to really help persons who are blind and disabled to find affordable housing with our project, and it's going to make their lives a lot more meaningful and a lot more easy to navigate. So we will really thank you guys so much, and we appreciate all the hard work you guys are doing for us as the disabled community.
Hello, Commissioners, Executive Director Jordan, and staff. Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much. The Project-Based Section 8 program is a tremendous tool in the Affordable Housing Toolkit. And we in Southern Nevada should be really proud because we're starting, for me, it's a brand new day in affordable housing in Clark County because you're taking these actions. So thank you so much. And we're pleased to see all sorts of new faces here too and friends in the affordable housing world. So thank you, and we really appreciate your support.
Good
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the opportunity. I think so this is great. It's going to serve 29 seniors that are either have experienced homelessness or they're on fixed income. It's a great opportunity to serve the community through housing. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hello, Commissioners and Executive Director Jordan. My name is BJ Wright. I'm the Executive Director for Coordinated Living of Southern Nevada, and this is...
Hi, Jason Schwartz. I'm the Director of Community Support for UNLV Health Mojave Counseling, historically called Mojave Mental Health or Nevada Family Practice Residency Program. We have some identity issues.
Coordinated Living of Southern Nevada is a nonprofit organization and is a partner with Ovation Development and Design in the development of the South Nellis Permanent Supportive Housing Project. On behalf of the entire team, we thank you for approving the 50 project-based vouchers for this community. These vouchers are going to have a lifetime impact on the recipients and will allow them to say, I now have a home. We commend your forward thinking in recognizing and addressing one of the most urgent housing needs in our community, and that is providing permanent affordable housing for those most in need of shelter. Working together to focus on the solution, we will have double the impact. We thank you for your commitment and support of the South Nellis Project. Thank you so much.
The Mojave piece, we will be providing mental health services in the setting itself. So instead of the clients having to come to the clinic to get mental health services, we will be providing them in the housing setting. We are the behavioral health practice plan for the School of Medicine. The School of Medicine grows and trains doctors. We provide services to people with extremely low income on SSI with serious and persistent mental health in Southern Nevada. And I'm just thrilled to be part of this project. I'm very thankful to Ovation for proposing it and thankful to the Housing Authority for supporting it.
Thank you.
Smart.
Hi, Kevin Fitzpatrick is here, if you can hear me, with Impact Residential.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, Commission. Truly appreciate being invited to your meeting today, and unfortunately was not able to make it in person, but certainly appreciate Mr. Stafford providing a link to join virtually. My name is Kevin Fitzpatrick. I am a development manager with Impact Residential Development. We're very excited to be working with the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority for the creation of additional affordable housing units in Nevada. Impact is a mission-driven firm focused on providing affordable housing in areas that are the most difficult to develop. So we look for areas that have the highest rent burdens, have the biggest challenges to new affordable housing being developed. And that's why we moved into the Las Vegas market, because we feel like there's a true need there and a solution that we can provide through our experience in other areas. So we're very happy to have been awarded an allocation of project-based vouchers, and certainly appreciate the support and look forward to working together in the future on this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Okay, I think that concludes the presentation on that item. I also wanted to announce before we bring our community partners up, under that same goal of creating new housing opportunities, we're going to open up our Section 8 wait list effective February 27th. It's going to be open for 30 days, and we're anticipating quite a response to that. But again, just want to use every tool we possibly have to make affordable housing available. Now I'd like to have our community
Really
partners.
quick, Commissioner Brew had a question before we get to anyone leaves.
Thank you. I just had a couple of questions. First of all, I'm super excited about all the projects, and I have to say I'm especially excited about the coordinated living project, because I keep screaming to anyone who will listen, we need more permanent supportive housing here in Nevada. So thank you for that. I have two questions. One is, why just 200 project-based vouchers? I mean, because it's just a drop in the bucket. So how do we as a region get more, and how can we help you get more? And then, you want me to hold on?
No, but you can ask.
My second question is just in terms of the mechanics. So I understand using project-based vouchers for new housing, but when there's a property that's already existing, if we're not displacing, how does it work? Is it just that the vouchers allow the existing affordable housing project to take folks who are at the lower band of AMI? So I'm just wondering about the mechanics.
So to answer your second question first, the project-based vouchers can be used for new construction as well as existing. And what it does, it provides a subsidy layer so that the individual living in the unit only pays 30% of the rent. And we pay, or the federal government pays the rest. So when the RFPs are put on, there are two categories. And I'm not sure if in our awardees, some of them are existing. They're all new construction? Okay. But that is an option that we can consider. To your first question, HUD allows us to project base up to 20% of our total voucher population. So our total voucher population is around 13,500, which is about 2,700 is what we can project base. In addition to the 200 that we awarded today, what is our total number? Does someone know? Of project based vouchers? So about 700. So and now keep in mind, when we say 2,700, the voucher and the money has to balance out. So we're, of the 2,700 that are potential, we only have 700 right now. And as we move forward, we'll look like, for example, this is the first offering of this type in quite a long time. And so.
And on top of that, based upon our 13,000 plus, state allocation that we receive, that's pale in comparison to what similarly sized municipalities will get, and I think that's worth noting, which is all why we are continuously advocating to our federal delegation to get a greater number through the HUD formula that they deploy.
Thank you for adding that. I was going to say that to the chairman's point, we get 13.5, 2.3, 2.4 million people in the region, and just as a comparison, Chicago proper is 2.7 million. And they get 48,000 vouchers. So there's a consistent, and when you say, well, Louis, where'd that formula come from? We're still trying to find out. But we know that the formula hasn't adjusted to the growth of the community. So to that end, as we get more vouchers, we have the opportunity to expand our project-based outreach.
I've also been screening that data point to anyone who will listen, so I hope we can continue to work on that down here in Southern Nevada. Thank you.
And to that end, I think we could consider going to DC, meeting with HUD, meeting with the congressional delegation and saying, this is unfair, we're going to be number one in the primary next year. They need to start looking at Nevada, how we can help us. So another thing is this the first time we've used project-based vouchers for new construction?
No, I don't think it is. We have the 700. Were any of those RFPs though?
We bid them for some of our own developments as well as others.
Okay, no, this is not the first time, but it appears to be the first time in quite a while.
Yeah, so it's very exciting. So hopefully we can keep this going. And they, in turn, will use this when they're financing, right? When they go to the bank, they'll say this is a part of the lasagna that they're able to use to get the mortgage.
That's a really, Vice Chair, that's really a big part of it, in addition to providing housing. There's a contract they can go in the bank and say, here's an infusion of funding that will be guaranteed over X amount of period. So it's all around a very, very good opportunity for us. And more importantly, an opportunity for us to partner with other like-minded affordable housing providers.
All right, and it sounds like the board would like to take a tour of where these 200 project-based vouchers are going when the time is appropriate. So thank you.
I would think the awardees would welcome that. Yes, absolutely. All right.
Just to follow up on the Ovation project, that's not approved yet, so be forewarned.
We have a whole room of advocates now.
Yeah, I'm happy to go to Washington, DC and talk to HUD. So seriously, we need more. Our residents deserve better. We deserve better. And it's up to us to go get it. I have found that out all my life. So I'm ready.
Consider it plan.
Thanks.
Yeah, consider it plan.
All right, we can move forward.
Okay. Very good. And I wanted to say before Paula comes up that I just wanted to reiterate that the wait list, we're going to open it up on February 27th. It'll be open for 30 days. It's going to be, we're going to do a virtual wait list, and that we're trying to get away from paper. We have a very high-tech, understandable process that we're going to employ. We will have paper, but we anticipate when we set up, we're going to have stations where people don't have technology. We can do it online with them, but very, very customer friendly, very tech friendly at all levels. And so we're anticipating quite a few applications. Once we're through that process, we'll do a lottery and we'll we'll determine how many people will go on the list. Very good. Okay, Paula, you want to come up and introduce our community partners?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. It's good to see you again. My name is Paula Tucker. I'm the Acting Resident Program Coordinator for the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. Today we have two long-time partners here to speak with you. The first one, this gentleman literally has all the answers to resources in the community. His name is Mr. Paul Thornton, and he's the Community Outreach Specialist for Nevada 211. Mr. Thornton.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and members of the public. It's a pleasure being here today, and especially because Nevada 211, we received 4 times the call for housing for 17 years in a row versus any other resource that we provide. And we have over 4,000 programs available for the citizens of Nevada, 1,300 agencies. One of the biggest problems we have is a lot of housing resources are Band-Aids because they get grant money and it's gone. I had a new agency I brought on board. They had money in September for 7 months. After the first month, they were out. And a lot of places like Catholic Charities, other places, all the places that you were talking about earlier, they're in our database that is getting the vouchers. And they are inactive in our database because they have such long waiting lists. I do look forward to getting the information for the 27th this month so that we can pass to our call center operators. That will be a big relief for us because, and when I'm out at events, some of you may know me, and Commissioner McCurdy does, Mr. Sigblin. When they see me out there, I'm out at 40 to 60 events a month. Housing, homelessness, every type of events. People come, that's the number one question, housing. And you sort of cringe, and I know you do too, hearing all this, because there's not really a lot available. Unfortunately, it's Clark County Social Services. But I regress, I'm here to educate you more about 211, but that is the biggest problem in Nevada all over. I am Paul Thornton. I am the face of Nevada 211, have been for 7 years. I'm everywhere. If you've got, hopefully you've got my business card. I'm the only one you can reach by cell phone, and I do answer my phone. If I cannot help you, I will get the answer for you or find that. If you refer somebody you know to me and they call me, if I can't help them, I'll still find them the assistance they need. That's what I do. I love my job. I love what I do, and I'm enthusiastic and proactive about helping all the citizens of Nevada. Fortunately, now I have someone up in northern Nevada that does the same job, so I can concentrate more down here. Commissioner McCurdy knows I'm out in the west side, North Las Vegas, more than ever. We're helping everyone. That's what I love to do. And because the people, the services out there, For example, the food programs. I mean, you know, nobody should go hungry. Lots of food programs going on. I volunteer 2 hours. A lot of you should volunteer out here for some of the food pantries or food banks. I was there at 8 o'clock in the morning, standing outside loading up groceries in people's, seniors' bags, trucks and everything. After 2 hours, I left. The truck line was still so long. The need is so there in that perspective. But most of you, 211, nobody knows about it. I'm here hopefully to give you a synopsis and educate you so you have a general idea. And like I say, hopefully, like I say, you have my number. If you want me to do a presentation, come out, do anything, events and stuff, call me, I'll be there for you. Well, 211 is a situation that the Federal Communication Commission decided to push on every state. They wanted a 211 system in every state. First of all, to take the burdens off of 911 operators. And the second was to provide non-emergency basic health and human resources to the citizens of Nevada. And also, further along, the Federal Communication Commission charged each state with developing its own 211 network. We have one call center in Nevada. There's 161 nationwide and in Canada. Like California has 5 or 6 separate call centers because they're spread out more in that aspect. We're also, a lot of you may not remember, we provide disaster response call center. When it is activated, it's a natural or mandated emergencies, and it's effective if the state calls us, the county, city, or Native American tribe. A lot of you may not know when we had the 10-1 mass shootings a few years ago, 211, we were able to help the coroner's office identify the last 5 people that passed away. And we kept in touch with a lot of people 6 months to a year afterward, providing them resources and service to that. So that's a lot of what 211 does. And 211 here in Nevada has been here going on 17 years now. 211 is a free and easy telephone number that connects callers to information about critical health and human services available in your community. While 211 exists nationwide, Nevada's Aging and Disability Services Division chose Money Management International to administer the 211 program, and they have done it for the past 6 years. They are the nation's largest nonprofit consumer credit counseling agency, and they're very good, and they support 211 tremendously with even their own money, not because our money comes from the government, and the government sends it to the state, and the state, that money has not changed in 16 years, so they do the best they can with it. So money management has really helped us make 211 more knowledgeable and helping to get out to educate people in that aspect. Our call center takes over 10,000 calls per month, and our call center specialists, they're trained to assist callers in navigating the sometimes confusing maze to find the right agency or desired services. And this free confidential service is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you have anybody, being commissioners, that calls you and says 211 didn't help them, call me. Because we keep track of every phone call. And people back up when we ask them about that, because we're there to help people and we'll do everything. But if you have any complaints, I'll make sure we get to the bottom of that. To give you an idea of the services that Nevada 211 provides, and like I said, our biggest one's housing. Basic human needs resources, that's 90% of our calls. Food pantries, free clothing, thrift stores, shelters, rental assistance, and utility assistance. Several things came out through the pandemic, and one of them is, as you all know, a lot of us are seniors. It's hard to get good, healthy food a lot of times. You go into some food pantries or things like that, or being down in areas that they didn't have good grocery stores. Let me tell you, There's a program called Golden Groceries. Age 60 or over, it is income qualified. But it will do three things. It will, if you cannot get to a food bank, it will have a delivery van deliver you fresh vegetables, fresh healthy food, not junk food for you to have. They will send an Uber or Lyft to pick you up to get your food, to do it. If you can drive, you can go to the food bank, drive through the back, they'll load your vehicles up with that food. This is something that came out through the pandemic for our seniors and very helpful for that aspect. We provide a lot of physical and mental health resources, medical information lines, crisis intervention, rehabilitation, health insurance programs, including Medicaid and Medicare. We have a lot of employment services for you, unemployment benefits, financial assistance, job training, transportation assistance, education programs. We have lots of programs for seniors. When I go out to do senior 211 events, I have a separate program for them because they need to know about what's available for the seniors out here. And we have the senior centers, home health care, congregate meals, Meals on Wheels, respite care, mentoring, and transportation services. Also, we have lots of services available for children, youth, and family. Quality child care, after-school programs, Head Start, family resource centers, recreation programs, mentoring, tutoring, and protective services. That's the first part of this. Let me tell you, this is what's the most important part, because a lot of people do not know what happens when you call 211. There's 4 ways that you can call 211. You simply dial 211. Or you can text 898-211 with your zip code. And one of our call center specialists will return your calls. You also can visit Nevada211.org, which has a live chat service available. If you have problems navigating the system, our system is a very great system, but it's word specific. If you don't put in the right things, you're not going to get what you're looking for, but it's a great system to have. The great thing, 2 other things that came out of the pandemic was we brought out our regular 211 app. That's for every individual. And there's no age requirement. If you're 4 years old and you can get on the phone, call 211, we can help you because we're a call center. The other second thing is our Nevada 211 Youth Out program, specifically for 11 to 19-year-old teens, and is brought out because of, we all know, the depression, the suicides, and the things that are going on with teens. And a lot of times, as you might be the best parent in the world, children don't want to talk to you. So that is available for you. What happens if you make a 211 call? We only need your first name. People give their both names, that's okay. We need your phone number to see if you've used 211 services before and see how we can better help you if you have that.
Paul, we're just going to see if there are any questions really quick. Are there any questions from the board?
No.
Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll make sure that we get all of the information. Paul, we thank you for all the work that you do in the community, my friend. It's an honor every time I see you out. And we'll go and hear from Ms. Tucker to get the next presenter.
Oh, that's I'll serve it anyway. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Our second presenter is Ms. Glenda Bana. She's here in representation of Ms. Sarah Beers. She's a facilitator with Clark County Department of Family Services, specifically the Parenting Project. And we have worked with them for a long time, so I'll turn it over to her.
Thanks so much for inviting us today. Proud to be a community partner with you all. I'm going to start out by asking, and you guys can play too, how many of you, pardon me, are parents? Yeah? Okay, humbling, right? Yeah. All right, that's why I do what I do. That's why I'm here today. Have you ever taken a parenting class? That same group of people, woohoo. Not so much. All right. Well, I want you to know that parenting classes and parent education is totally underrated. Effective parenting requires skills. Skills are taught, they have to be learned, they have to be practiced, and then they have to be adjusted as our kids grow up. We have to change as our children change, as they become bigger. Nobody told you that, right? You didn't know that when you signed on for this job. Well, that's what we do with the Parenting Project. We teach the skills that are necessary to be a parent or a caregiver, because we know right now that a lot of children are being raised by caregivers other than their parents. And we do this throughout the lifespan of a child. So the focus basically of the Parenting Project is on the prevention of child abuse and neglect. It's also for the prevention of substance abuse in children and youth. Our philosophy and our basic philosophy is strong. It's that nurturing parenting works, and that we want to eliminate the use of fear and violence in parenting. So that's what we do. Our classes are free. They're taught in English and in Spanish. You've all been given a flyer, and those of you out there, there's flyers available for you as you leave. On one side is the class list in English, on the other side is our class list in Spanish. We teach in person, and we also teach online. So there's both options, but I'm here to tell you that the in-person classes are far better. Okay, Parenting Project offers a whole bunch of different options for you. First of all, we have some programs that are 6-week programs, and those programs happen to be developmentally based, which means we'll talk about children during various ages and stages. And the 8-week classes that we teach are more behavioral. That takes a little longer, because what we're looking to do is to look at the misbehaviors, talk about strategies for impacting those misbehaviors, practicing them at home, learning them first, and then practicing in order to see results. So that's where we're going with this. We also offer one-time workshops. So let's talk just first about some of the developmentally based programs. These are the 6-week programs, and they are on your flyer on the right-hand column. Baby care is at the bottom of that list, unfortunately, because it starts first, as we all know. But it's basically a program designed for people who are either expecting or their first-time parents. Although I have a lot of experienced parents of babies come into the class, it's an amazing class. You cannot believe how much information there is to know between birth and 1-year-old. Nurturing Parents and Families is one of our bread and butter classes. That's for parents who have children between the ages of 6 months and 4. ABCs is next, and it's for elementary age kids, usually 5 to 10 years old. And then the next class in that category is Staying Connected with Your Teen, and that is the only class that we have that involves kids and parents together. Powerful class, video driven. The kids and the parents see videos of current kind of events that are going on that apply to every family, and they come out of there changed, typically. So our 8-session classes are basically more designed for behavior management. So we know that when parents experience challenging behaviors, that it can be frustrating, even debilitating for some parents. And Triple P programs, which is a program that we use, evidence-based program, is designed to strengthen, first of all, the parent-child bond, because a lot of times that gets broken or damaged in the interactions when parents don't know what they're doing, honestly. Right? Okay, so Triple P is the first of those programs, is for kids between 2 and 11. And Teen Triple P is for parents of kids between 11 and 17. Teen Triple P, I've been teaching a lot lately. I cannot tell you how much stuff is going on out there with teenagers. And social media has a whole lot to do with it. And we really focus on social media and helping parents learn how to manage social media time with kids. Stepping Stones Triple P is an amazing class for kids who have disabilities. This is for parents of kids who have disabilities. This requires a different set of skills. And it's tough because some parents have disabled children along with children who don't have disabilities in the same household. So it becomes really challenging for parents to know how to do that. We do a program called Primary Care Triple P, and that's for parents who are dealing with anger and stress issues. Triple P seminars are available, and those are one-time parenting seminars, and those are offered anywhere that you guys want them. So we also want to talk to you about two of our targeted programs, and that is Nurturing Skills for Families in Substance Abuse Treatment and Recovery. Now that's a big, long name, but basically we're talking to people who are in treatment or recovery, and we're helping them reconnect with their kids, because there's damage done in the process of substance abuse. We all know that. Relationships get affected in big ways. So that's an 8-session class. It's powerful. And so excited to tell you that we have a new program that we're rolling out called Nurturing Fathers. Yes. And it focuses on fathering without fear and violence. We are rolling that out now. It's an 8-session program, and it's gotten some really good feedback from our first time out there. So we have group classes. Why group? Because it's more fun. And because we learn from each other. And because parents are the experts on their kids. So we also feel that we want you to know that this is like an underutilized opportunity for so many parents. They don't know about this. So how do we get the word out that the Parenting Project is here and we're, available to you? That's what we want you to know. Our classes are free. They're virtual and in person. Anybody can attend. They're held in many, many community locations. Registration's easy. All you have to do is call the phone number that's on your flyer right here. And we want to encourage you, the Housing Authority in particular, to call and get on our mailing list, because we have a community mailing list where all of our schedules are listed, and people can just call and sign up. One last thing, we're very open to partnerships. So some of you guys out there, think about that too. We're really open to that. If you provide a site and parents, we'll provide the rest. We're here for you. Bottom line, why do we do this? Because our kids are worth it. Thanks.
Commissioner Cox.
Well, I have to thank you for coming today. Wow, this is a very educational day for me. My oldest, who's now 38, did the Triple P classes, and we did them with her. And let me just tell you, I was so relieved when she turned 12 and there was an answer for us, because we didn't know how to parent a teenager. We knew how to parent little kids. And I have 7. So I just want to thank you. And may I suggest, if you haven't already, these really need to be in the schools, in their front offices. You are? Are you in Pinecrest? Are you in any of the charters?
We'd love to be.
Please get with me, and I will make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much again. All right. Mitch, you good? All right, trying to keep you up. All right. So if you are actually, I just want to make a quick announcement. If you're here on item 9, that has been removed from the agenda. Item 9 for all my folks from SCIU. All right.
Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Okay. We'll now move on to section 3, item number 6, consent agenda. I entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
All right, we have a motion and a second from Commissioner Craig. Is there any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, I'll move for count. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion is adopted. And just for the record, Commissioner Turner had to take off to get back to an engagement. And we'll now move on to item number 4, section 4, item 7.
Since we last came together, we've had a number of our residents who've departed, and just take a moment of silence for the group that I'll read from. Donald Berryman, Karen Daniel McCauley, Carol Edmonds, Lorraine Herney, Patricia James, Krista Laval, Russell McLennan, Johnny Thomas, Gilbert Walker, and one of our resident organization leaders recently passed, over at Rose Gardens, that's Sinclair Haywood. Yeah, Sinclair passed last week, yeah. So we just have a moment of silence. Thank you for keeping them and their families in your prayers. That's it.
Wow. Okay, yeah, definitely praying for the families. Item number 8, approval to the award contract number C23020 to All Pro Service LLC. All Pro Painter for paint services on the interior for our vacant units and exterior buildings. Okay, Mr. Shaw.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Johnny Shaw, Procurement Manager. This item 8 is an invitation for bid that we issued in October of 2022. It closed December 12th of 2022. There is some confusion with the line items that we had in the first bid, and so we had to clarify and explain to the bidders that they had to bid on each line item, which was about 120 line items. And so we reissued the bid December 19th of 2022, and the bid closed again January 23, 2023. The scope of the solicitation was also expanded from 2018 from just painting the vacant units to include painting the exterior buildings as well as the stucco repairs. These services assist in making ready vacant units for occupancy as required by public housing and affordable housing departments. Upon completion of the IFB invitation for bid, specification, scope of work, and solicitation was issued 12/15/2022. A total of 991 companies were informed of the solicitation through the NGM bidding platform. 12 companies reviewed and downloaded the solicitation, and we had 4 bidders that actually bidded on the solicitation. As you see, our outreach for all of our solicitations are through the Las Vegas Review Journal, Asian Journal, El Mundo, Black Image Magazine, as well as some of the diversity platforms, Emerging Business, through the Governor's Office, Clark County Small Business Opportunity Program, Construction Connect, Construction Notebook, Dodge Report, the Clark County Purchasing Council, Labor Chamber of Commerce, American Indian Chamber of Commerce, I'm losing my place here. The Latin Chamber of Commerce, Indian Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber of Commerce of Nevada, Carson Valley Chamber of Commerce, Asian Chamber of Commerce, and so forth and so on, as well as on our SNRHA website. The question submission deadline was established on January 9th of 2023. As I stated, 4 bids were received. The IFB resulted in 4 responsive bidders. Staff reviewed the costs and documents submitted and performed all background checks to include license, ownership, business license, etc. The bid is for $150,000 a year. HUD allows us to contract for 5 years, and so the total bid amount for the 5-year period is $750,000. As you see below, the cost estimate that we had for the prior 5 years was about $742,000. And so we do have a representative here from All Pro Painters, Mr. Michael Holden, who is the Vice President, if you have any questions for him or for myself.
And these services are typically provided when we have a tenant that moves out or there's, okay, just make sure we get that out there as well.
Yes.
Are there any questions from members of the board, either in person or online? Commissioner Brewer.
I have a question. So it looks like from the documents that we were provided, we are not going with the company that provided the lowest bid, if I'm reading this correctly?
Are you reading under the cost estimate?
Yes, and so
No, that was from 2018 to 2023.
Okay. So previously, All Pro Painters did work for us, and their amount was $520,000, and C. Smith Painting did work for us, and their cost was $202,000.
Prior years, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Now, to add to that, we are going to be using C. Smith as well as a backup, but that'll be under the executive director's threshold of $150,000.
Anyone else? I'm sorry, this, if you have a public comment, that's going to be at the second portion after this. All right. Commissioner Black.
I'm prepared to move for approval if there are no further questions.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Cox. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing and seeing none, move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Anyone opposed? Motion is adopted.
Thank you.
Item 9 for the public certification has been removed per Executive Director's guidance and with disclosure as to why. And we'll now move on to the second period for public comment. These are items that are not on the agenda, but we ask that you keep your comments to a 3-minute period. Anyone wishing to speak during the second portion of citizen participation in public comment, please come forward now and state your name for the record, first and last. And if you're in a public housing property, just ask that you state which property that you're in.
Wardeen Patton, Jamestown Towers. I'm here to I have two things to discuss. First, our security. We had an incident at Jamestown Towers Saturday, and it involved your Commissioner Valerie Craig. Now, I moved from one end of the apartment to the other end due to the renovation. Above me, this lady was screaming and hollering. Valerie came out of her apartment. My sister lives on the second floor. My brother was going up to her apartment. He heard it. The lady punched Valerie Craig in the nose. Now, Valerie is a better woman than me because if she had punched me, she'd have been on the ground. Come to find out she had a gun. That is not acceptable. You have a lot of seniors in that building that can hardly get around. I'm fortunate enough to get around even with blood clots in my leg. But security, while the security kids come there, take pictures and leave. We've had incidents. This lady that punched Valerie last month threatened another resident, Vanessa Hamlin. She was so loud that the girl in the office came out. They have a picture of her. And my question is, why can't the residents get a picture of this girl so she can't come in the building? Now, I saw her sitting outside one day with 3 bags of clothes. So I told the residents, instead of going out the door that closed the floor, go out this door. I sent 3 of them out, let 3 of them in. When she saw what was going on, she walked away, went around to the side door. A resident let her in. Now, if she's gonna bring a gun in that building, that is unacceptable. Your motto is a safe and secure environment for residents. That is not a safe and secure environment. When our residents letting her in, and everybody knows what she's doing. She's a prostitute, I'll put it like that, plain and simple. She's been in there with 4 different men, and I know who they are. And I went to approach one, and I told him, if this girl ever comes in there, and when the police, Valerie called the police, 2 hours to get there, security, 2 hours to get there. What are you paying security for? They come in there and take pictures. In the computer room, there's a sliding glass door. Someone keeps unlocking that door. So they're coming in through there. You've got some elderly seniors that are looking down, walking on walkers. You've got some that bad need. You got 86-year-old man. I help as much as I can because he can't help himself. Secondly, why can't we have security at night, full time? That is a concern to me. Because like I said, some of those seniors in that building cannot help themselves, protect themselves. Some of them you can just push them. There's, for instance, a lady, Gloria. She goes every morning at 5:30 to the doctor.
Thank you so much for coming forward. Again, we won't go back and forth during the public commenting period, but what we will do as commissioners is we'll follow up with the executive director, and we will ask that you stay behind as well so we can get all the information and follow up on everything and be provided with response from the executive team.
Hello, Phyllis Carpenter, 5200 Alpine Place, number 5, Sartini Annex. Okay, the first thing I want to address is my Google account. And you guys say that it isn't your IT department, whatever, but when I get a phone call from any of the Housing Authority numbers, it pops up David Kaufman Supportive Services. If I send an email to Scott Black, it pops up Supportive Services, David Kaufman Supportive Services. I want that fixed. Yesterday, in the mail, I went and I checked my mailbox, and I received this. It's the calendar for February, and they ain't allowed to put these in our mail. They're allowed to put them on the doors, but they ain't allowed to get into that mailbox. And we have an old man, Bill. He's 94 years old. He's lived there 30 years. He sits in the lobby all day, so he basically knows who can come in and who can't. He was served an eviction notice. He wasn't called to the office about it. He was served an eviction notice. He was suicidal over it. He almost committed suicide. That manager something needs to be done about the manager. As well as I had a meeting in August, September with Ava. She said that they was approved to replace the tiles all throughout the building. They're replacing them with molded tiles. The kitchen, they took away our double oven. The countertops are held up by 2x4s. It's sad. We can do better than this. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just sad. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Carpenter. We'll follow up as well.
That's what you always say, and it never happens.
Mr. Jordan?
Hello, everybody. Glad to see everybody. I'm coming as a senior citizen. My name is Sharon Davis, and I live at Espinosa Terrace. I'm coming with a notice that I received about pre-registration. Okay. I signed some papers to register. You know, we register every year. In our complex, we sign thousands of papers. I get a letter in the mail stating that I have to pre-register through email. I have to get an email address, and then I have to register again, okay? So that's 2 registrations that I have to do. I don't understand. Okay, the letter was sent to me with no pre-saying that I have to do this. So I'm totally confused. Before, I think I was getting my registration in the mail. So are we running out of paper that I have to be on a computer to re-register? The letter was sent to me on, it says the 12th. January the 12th is on this letter. I have to be pre-registered by January the 30th. I received this letter on the 6th. No, I received this letter on a Friday, which was like the 13th. The post date on it is the 6th of February. Okay, so all of this is totally confusing. I'm saying a lot of letters and saying a lot of stuff. My question is, now, when I received this letter, I have a casework, okay? I called twice. I did not get any response at all. So I'm here to ask you, what should I do about this? I'm gonna put the monkey back on your back. What should I do with this piece of paper? I'm not computer literate. I no. And I'm talking for other seniors that's in their houses and getting this paper with not even a notice to say you're going to get it. So what do we do? What happens if I don't do this? What happens if I don't fill this out? If I don't get an email and remember the surname and all that kind of good stuff, all that, and I don't fill it out, I put it over here and leave it. What you gonna do to me? That's my question.
We'll follow up with Commissioner Davis.
All right, thank you. Thank you. And just, we ask that you hang tight.
Yes, just stick around.
Stick around after.
We'll talk with you after the meeting.
Beg your pardon?
We'll talk with you after the meeting.
Okay,
Just
please.
have a seat.
Sheriff,
Well, we just asked that, yeah, we just asked that you follow up after the meeting. We're not gonna go back and
no, I
forth.
wasn't going to go back. I wasn't going to go back.
Yes, sir. Is there anyone else wishing to come forward during public comment?
Good afternoon. It's good to see everybody again. My name's Holly. I live at Juan Garcia Apartments, and I came to the last meeting to kind of give you guys an update of what's been going on, and that's why I'm here today, to give you guys an update. I've been receiving I took advantage of the Nevada Legal Aid to kind of walk me through, okay, what are these papers I'm receiving? Are they legal? And I've been receiving like eviction notices, but I don't have any pending evictions in the court system at all. So I'm really confused now as to why after I had a meeting here with you guys, just recently, I got a 30-day notice to, no cause notice to quit. So basically, they're giving me 30 days to quit and leave my residence. But my caseworker didn't know anything about this. I'm asking her, and she's like, you don't have anything in the court system, so there's nothing, nobody, they gave me the paperwork, but it's not signed by anybody. It just has a date stamped, and you can tell the difference between a fax and from somebody actually signing it. You can tell that they just copied it, stamped the date on it, and just put it on my door. And they've been doing that recently where they'll give you notices like the day before the deadline is, and then they'll say, oh, well, you have to do this. Like, for example, they gave me a notice saying they need to fumigate my place because how I was telling you how infested the roaches are. They sent me a notice they wrote it out on the 25th, dated it for the 26th, they dated it for the 25th, put it on my door on the 26th. I get off at 5:30. So I didn't get the note until about 7 o'clock at night. And there's been somebody there who was like, well, nobody came to the door and knocked or anything. So they just put this on the door, literally. So I get home at 7 o'clock at night, I see this notice, they're coming to fumigate on the next following day. But how am I supposed to prepare? How am I supposed to do that? So I feel like they're trying to do stuff to say that, look, I'm trying to do something, but they're really not. It's just quite blatant now that they're just trying to cover up whatever they're doing. But I had another question that was really kind of directed on the last speaker that was speaking up here, because I was reading and I noticed it says the services that they provide are in making ready vacant units for occupancy, and I guess that's required by the public housing, right? So that kind of ties into my thing where when I moved into this unit, it was like that already. So I was just wondering, like, is there anything in place, like before participants get placed in these homes, what kind of cleaning services do they bring in, before these people get in there to like make sure that it's accurate, that it's sanitary for somebody to come in? And I understand this particular property uses third party, but it needs to be, I know I'm over it, but it needs to be something that makes sure that these people are being checked.
Can you stay after, please?
Oh, yeah, I can stay.
Mr. Chair, if I may, as when the young lady showed up before, this property is not managed by the Housing Authority. This is a Frank Hawkins property. We followed up with that property management company, and we'll do it again.
Okay, so on the new business item that so moving forward, we're gonna have a new business item at the end of every agenda before the second part of public comment. And what we need to have during that new business item is a time for us to discuss as a board what we want to include on the following agenda, but also that can be provided to us an opportunity to hear what was the follow-up on the tenants, because one thing that we can't have as a board is if we are hearing comment, and we need to have an ability to follow up on what we are being presented with to make sure that it's being taken care of. So we're gonna make sure that that happens at the next, on the next agenda. And also that we have some accountability measures in place as well, and opportunity to bring forward new issues.
So that I'm clear, for the April meeting,
Yes, sir.
we'll have, under this new column, any comments that came out today, we'll have resolution to what was done in those comments. In addition to having the board, if not then, between now and then, to add items on the agenda that will be discussed.
Yeah, and just a really brief opportunity
Very
for us to discuss, not to prolong the meeting, but just to have an update. And even if we had some follow-up via, electronic correspondence to say, hey, this is where we are, so that we'll know where we are when the next meeting comes as well.
Absolutely.
I second the motion.
No, it's not a motion. But, yes.
So we can do that.
And I was thinking it could be sort of thematic as well. So clearly we've heard security, we've heard sort of the process for evictions, maybe like big bucket topics that you could mention like what happened, but also I'm new, so I want to learn how you're doing your eviction process. How we're holding our partners like the Frank Hawkins property like accountable for the cleaning or whatever. So just sort of thematic, and then we can talk about what specifically was done as well if we need to.
Clearly understood.
And can I make a comment, please? We're going into RAD, and a lot of people in Jamestown Tower, they may be in apartment number 1, and they may move to apartment number 20. And when they move to apartment number 20, their complaints are supposedly the refrigerator's not working, the heating's not working, the stove is not working, and all of that. And we had a meeting, and my question was, why does not anybody inspect it before they go into that, which is the same thing? And so my question is, there's some question about accountability. And you're saying the same thing, and it's so crucial, so important. And I wasn't going to bring it up, but I mean, accountability, it makes us look more, it makes us appear though an organization has integrity, and it makes us viable.
Absolutely.
All right.
I second that motion.
All right. So there's no more comment at this period. This meeting is adjourned.